right, so I'm going to be demoing for the first time, like this demo. So excuse me if there's any issues with it. It wasn't working this morning and then it worked, so we'll see how it goes here. But I want to make sure that I am super helpful and can give you knowledge from my experience. And what we do at Abridged is we have this contract wallet SDK, and I came into the ecosystem around 2016. I helped co-author the white paper for TCRs, token curated registries, and thought, okay, well, if I get the game theoretics correct, then there'll be the stampede of users that will come to Ethereum. Realized that the friction of onboarding was really tough. And so thought, okay, well, we'll focus on scalability so that we can scale a blockchain. CryptoKitties happened in 2017. I helped launch the first layer 2 solution on mainnet in Ethereum, and saw that there was traction and there was scalability, but it was really difficult still with the whole user onboarding. So worked on creating this counterfactual wallet. Create 2 came out around this time last year and thought that would be the magic bullet to be able to solve the usability issues that we had. And I kind of fell under this premise, and I think as an engineer we all kind of, or as programmers, developers, all think that if you build it, they will come. And so I want to talk about my journey here for the last 4 years and how it came to the situation of where I'm at in terms of money Legos. So first, I want to set the context. We are all Web3. Most of the world doesn't use Ethereum. So I want to give some context in terms of kind of where I see things are at as we were building our V1 of our SDK and comparing it to Web 2. It was really hard actually for me to come up with these slides. And so if you hang in with me, hopefully there'll be this rainbow at the end. But we take a look at 2019, the internet, very important. Everyone knows Baby Yoda, right? It's trending higher than the Democratic candidates, right? Disney Plus launched, and from November to now or whatever, 28.6 million new subscribers. This is a brand name, right? Everyone's been waiting for Disney to come out, but this is the kind of numbers that we're talking about in like 2020. Moving away from brand names, you look at influencer networks like TikTok. Who actually has a TikTok account here? Okay. All right, that's interesting. So maybe like a 10th. So Alex French went from 400,000 followers to 1.2 million followers in a day. That's the power that we're talking about now when you talk about internet and Web 2 and like numbers. So I went on to, if you go to a site called tickrank.com, you can see all like the top trending people on TikTok. So I looked at number 1, The Rock. He's a celebrity. And I looked at his weekly growth. So in his weekly growth, just last week, he grew 9%. 9% to him is 1.3 million new followers in a week. So just trying to set some context when we talk about distribution and like the internet in 2020. He started on TikTok in November, end of November. He got onto TikTok in the end of November. So you talk about distribution and you talk about, okay, where are people at? TikTok doesn't have a desktop app. However, when you talk about mobile, and those are where people are at, mobile installs are declining. So you see this maturation when it comes to the mobile ecosystem, right? So it says, The global app retention rate after 10 sessions stood at 32% in 2019, a decrease from 38 the previous year, and it's just declining. So you're like, okay, great, I get it. You know, boomers are on desktop, we're gonna go all mobile, TikTok is mobile only, but when you look at mobile installs, new install rates are declining. How many people on average in a month download 5 apps on their phone? On average, a month. 5. 4? New apps on a monthly basis. 3? 3? 2? 1? 1, okay. 0? Yeah. So, you know, this is not 2010. This is 2020. You know, mobile is pretty mature. Not only do you have like decrease in mobile, let's say you have a hit mobile app, right? This is from Chamath, Social Capital slide deck, and actually it's now up to 50 cents. So even if you're able to raise money, you have a growing app, about 50 cents to every dollar that you raise is gonna go to distribution. Because it's gonna go to Google, Facebook, and Amazon, because that's where all the users are at. Not only that, there is this like slight bias or whatever, misunderstanding, whatever you wanna call it, whether it's intentional or not, that you have the platforms being able to call the shots. And that's basically why we're all here in terms of decentralization. But in the meantime, you see issues, mistakenly, you know, thank goodness that MetaMask is now back in the Google Chrome store. But Coinbase, one of the leading wallets, actually is not going to support dApps anymore. So this is from like the quintessential, like, you know, hit app, CryptoKitties from like 2017, right? Rom said that there was like a 99% drop-off rate. CryptoKitties, because of the onboarding friction, could have been 100 times. I don't know if it would have been able to like handle on chain that amount of volume, but just the friction alone, it should have been 100 times bigger. And this is a report coming from State of Crypto. Oops. This is a report coming State of Crypto. Oh. It says, I'll read it to you, that after 10 years and about $10 billion, oh, it's coming up. So this is including Bitcoin, this is including like all blockchains. After 10 years and about $10+ billion of capital injected into the blockchain, crypto Web3 sector, across all blockchains, there's about 60,000 DAU. So what do we do? Right? Like, this stuff is hard. You know, in kind of like the mainstream culture right now, when you talk about Facebook and privacy, that's just reaching the zeitgeist right now. How much longer or how much education is it going to take to talk about decentralization and to get people to care about that? When you see these other platforms and distribution like power or volume happening. So what I propose, and this is kind of a call to arms for like any like crypto app developer, is we gotta focus on these 3 things at least and make them butter. I just wanted to use a butter emoji. It just came out. There is the user onboarding experience. There is like the dev experience. So we're all here at the hackathon this weekend. And I think Dennison was talking about how difficult it is just to like bootstrap a dApp. Like how difficult it is just to bootstrap a dApp. And then once you can, you have like great user experience, you have like a good app, you've toiled away and like blood, sweat, and tears to make your app. What are you gonna do about distribution? So what I propose, and I'm gonna get to this money Legos in a bit, but I wanted to like set the context here, right? Of like the need of why we have to make this stuff easier, not only from a user perspective, not only from a developer perspective, but also from like a distribution perspective. I don't think a lot of us as devs think about distribution, and I want to say like distribution is actually probably the most important piece of this all. So first, mobile first. Second, no download. And you gotta go to where the users are at, right? So everyone here probably is on crypto Twitter, and how many people here on crypto Twitter are also daily users of Peepeth? Right? Why? Because no one else is there. And you would go there if everyone else is going there, but you don't want to give up your network that you've spent a long time accruing of followers. But if everyone could coordinate at the same time and everyone can go to Peepeth, I'm sure people would be used. But it's not. So we're also guilty in this room of people that are developers who are developing apps to actually, we're not even using the apps that exist, the social networks that currently exist. So I encourage everyone, this is kind of that kind of experience. If you have a Telegram account, go to this bot at ETHDenver 2020 bot. And this is the user experience that I'm proposing that we all need to go to. We need to go to where the users are at. We're all on Telegram, right? People on crypto, all on Telegram for the most part. Whether you're a speculator, a trader, a dev, part of these different DAOs, I highly suggest go to ETHDenver 2020 bot. And this is the user experience that I'm talking about. I'm not just talking about it. We're trying to deliver this experience. From a developer experience, we need to be able to iterate quickly to find that product market fit because we don't have the users. We don't have that value proposition. We believe in it. I believe in it. But mainstream users, how are we going to get them to believe in it? We have to be able to iterate quickly. We need to be able to have speed. It should not take a month, weeks. It shouldn't even take days to throw up these experiments. They should happen on a daily basis. We need to iterate, we need speed, and we need to go to users. We need to go to where the users are at, like today. If we want a chance of being able to like show the value here. And so here, I'll give you my Money Legos demo. So this is what we've done. And the reason why I'm saying this is that I feel, and I've been part of this like pain, right, as an app developer in Ethereum for the last couple years. We created our version 1 of our SDK. We had about a dozen implementations on mainnet. And it was really hard. There's different varying levels of experience, people coming into crypto as developers. It's not standardized. The ecosystem is not yet that mature. And so what we said, and fully believe in the vision of 1 million devs, what we need to do is lower that bar of the dev experience. And I think that people in the ecosystem now, we're starting to think about this. So Denison is taking it from the front end with Webflow, being able to like lower the barrier for dApp development. We're taking it from the back end. So what we've done is we've integrated with a no-code platform called Node-RED. And Node-RED, what it does is it allows non-developers to visually stitch together APIs. And our kind of mental model of like smart contracts is that smart contracts are just API interfaces into the blockchain, into the internet of value. So being able to mix Telegram with your smart contract wallet should be seamless. And today, we're launching this Ethereum transaction. Most of it has been built by Jonathan Dunlap, back there, raise your hand. This is his first ETH conference ever. And so his mind is blown, just talking about DAOs and everything. But he helped build this. He mainly built this. And what this does, so I'm going to take a contract. So who knows about Moloch V2? All right. So this is, I launched the Moloch V2 contract on Kovan. Okay. I launched a Moloch v2 contract on Kovan. So what I'm going to do now in this no-code platform is I'm going to add this contract address. And what this will do is it will go to Etherscan, and if that contract...
Can you zoom in? It's hard to read in the projector.
Oh.
It's really faint.
All right. So what this contract, so I just pasted the contract address. And what it does is if you have your contract verified on Etherscan, you put that contract address in there, and now I have access to all the API calls on Moloch. And so now what I can do is I can begin to stitch, and this is where the money Legos part comes in. So any contract on Etherscan that's verified, you can pull in and you can start stitching together. And so what I'm going to do is, I have this set already, is I'm going to just change, so here on Etherscan, if I read, so this is, I don't know if you can see it. So basically, this is my summoner address. My summoner address has its like delegate key mapped to the same address. What I'm going to do here is I can just do a write call, and I'm going to change the delegate key for the summoner to this address. And then I go, okay, I deploy, I confirm my deployment, and then I can like do an event trigger. So you can actually have in Node-RED, you can have the like an API call be a trigger. So what I'm doing here for just testing is I have this like timestamp. So it's just going to trigger a timestamp, and it's going to trigger that transaction. So I did that. So inject happened. I go in here. I wait for it, hopefully. I get this transaction hash. I can go to Kovan, and I can refresh 100 times until it comes up, and then you'll see that the transaction get mined. And so now the transaction is mine, and that's all I needed to do. I didn't need to know how to code. I just needed to know how to input a link into Node-RED, and I just needed to have an understanding of what that contract address or that contract does. Hopefully this becomes like a shelling point for like this like Unix philosophy of smart contracts that do one thing and only one thing really well. That way you can like start stitching contracts together. If I go back now and I go to that new delegate key address, I can put the new address in, and it should map now back to the same summoner address. And so it did. So this is what we're trying to foster in the blockchain space, and this is actually how we'll get to 1 million developers. I would hope that like through interfaces where people are at, like Telegram or Discord or Slack, we can not only have like 1 million developers, but 1 million co-op organizations, 1 million DAOs, whatever you want to call them, where people can coordinate, because the philosophy or the mental kind of abstraction here is that Ethereum with smart contracts reduces coordination costs, but it's the UI, the usability, that when you think about it in the context of where we are now in 2020, doesn't match the user experience. And so we want to not only reduce the friction when it comes to the usability, we want to, by having things be delivered in interfaces that users are already familiar with, but also lower the developer experience. So again, I'm giving a talk. I'm going to also, actually, this is a precursor. So I'm going to have a workshop tomorrow where you'll be able to play with this and touch this and like launch your own contracts and integrate with chat systems. If I can get it to work, it's kind of broken now at scale, but so hopefully it'll work. Yeah, that's it. I don't know how much time I have left. I'm more than happy to answer any questions if people have questions, or I can just exit stage left.
The technology that actually powers that bridge from chat to Ethereum, do you plan to generalize that so it becomes an interface for any chat ecosystem?
Yeah, so that's the power of like Node-RED. There are already interfaces and bots that already been open sourced for Discord, Telegram, WhatsApp, WeChat, Viber, like you name it. And so really when you talk about developer experience, it's this blending or this hybridization of Web 2 and leveraging. And I think Dennison talked about this, why reinvent the wheel? Like leverage what you already have. So I can give you kind of a sneak peek of, let's see. So real quick, like when you sign up for the bot, we already have everything kind of mapped into Airtable. So we're using Airtable, for example, as our caching database. So it's very similar to like the graph protocol, but it's visual, it's no code. We want to go no code the whole stack, even to the DB, right? And so what we want to leverage is we want to leverage Airtable. Airtable has great filtering, and you can link records, you can do a bunch of stuff without having to know how to code. So as people are, as people are, entering the bot, we're using a web form. The web form is in Airtable, so we didn't have to build the web form at all, right? And we didn't have to build out the interface for the chat bot. And this literally took 2 minutes to create. And now we have a way to like message people. We can have Telegram handles and things like that. So yeah, I think like Web3 development, we all talk about decentralization, DAOs, a bunch of stuff that I think is very visionary. But I think that, we also have to fill that gap into like where we are right now in 2020. Thanks. Question? No question? All right. The GitHub for the, so we're using Node-RED, the question came over here? Oh, so if you look up Node-RED Airtable, there are a bunch of different implementations. So there's like more than one, so you can take a look at it. And I think this is like useful too. So like, our smart contract wallet, it's a counterfactual based contract wallet, so that you don't have to like, when you create a address, it's free at the beginning and all that. Like that's just one like small component of this whole like no code, what we're calling the future of work, because I think all of us in crypto, or most of us, are used to being on Telegram chats, in Zoom calls all day long, and this is the future, right? Where, the future of work is going to be remote. A lot of people that I know in crypto are digital nomads as well. It's going to be partly no code, and I think crypto is going to be part of that. I think that when I really think about the autonomous version, or that DAO, the Decentralized Autonomous Organization, that autonomy is not just smart contracts executing on their own. It's going to be able to have NLP or machine learning be able to like manage communities at scale, and you'll bring game mechanics and things like that, with these bots. But yeah, thank you.